I've just gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I've gone from the S1000RR to the C Evolution Plus all-electric scooter. So, and I've literally, that's as far as I've ridden it, as far as you've seen me drive it now. My word. Okay, so look at this little rascal. The C Evolution Plus from BMW, all-electric scooter. This is weighs a massive 260 kilos, I believe, because most of it is battery. But here, Martin has just given us a rundown on the actual machine and how it all works. And do you know what? You can't get more different. Going from the monster that is the S1000RR to this little rascal here that's fully electric scooter. I'm laughing because I can't believe how good it is. This has only done 104 miles, so it's got no mileage on it at all. I've got a range of about just over 100 miles on a full charge. Full charge takes about 4 hours. It's got this funky little dashboard in front of you, which is pretty cool. It's got different ride modes. It's got dynamic, it's got road, and it's got a sail mode. Now, I was thinking it was something to do with sails just because it was in, we're in Falmouth. Toby's laughing at me because it is a little bit of a head screw, this is. Yeah, so loads of different types of different road modes. The dynamic one gives you loads of power and engine braking, apparently, and the sail mode is so if you're along on a, you're going on a flat surface or something, then it just cruises basically. You take your hand off the throttle and it will just cruise for a while, but there's no regenerative action in that. And by regenerative I mean it doesn't recharge the battery. So at the moment I've got it in road, and so every time I roll the throttle off, it puts a little bit of charge back into the battery. We don't know the specifics of it because this is like a brand spanking new bike. I've just asked Martin at Ocean BMW and he's got to read up on it. So we're sort of, as in the usual fashion, we're winging this. But it's very smooth. It's it's really nice actually. Whether I could get my head around one, and I don't know, but for commuting, if you're not going to go far, this is awesome. The screen is fixed. Mirrors are unbelievable. They're absolutely enormous. Why can't they put these kind of mirrors on other bikes? They're adjustable without having to break them like you sometimes do. They're really wide. They're almost like car wing mirrors or door mirrors. That's how big they are. There's absolutely no controls that you have to worry about. It's got automatic lights that come on. I'm trying to go for a gear change here, it's bizarre. Automatic lights, it's got trip info, it's got a reverse mode, which is excellent. There is no handbrake on like there is on quite a lot of traditional scooters, because when this stops, it just stops, it won't go anywhere. It's quite easy to pick up speed on it. You have to keep an eye on that. It's got heated grips. There's a mode switch on the dash, on the handlebars. It's a comfy riding position. The seat feels lovely, and obviously you've got the footrest, so you can put your feet right far forward. And it's quick! Who would have thought that out of this? Straight up to 60 miles an hour without any fuss at all, and noise. Quite a bit of wind coming against the shoulders, and that might be because the windscreen is quite low. but and there's a hole in there probably to stop buffeting. I've got a peaked helmet on. There's no buffeting on the actual helmet at all, so it's really as Toby's new favourite word, ergonomically sound, I think. It banks into bends really easily because all the gravity is down low. It's very hard not to consider changing gear. I've got a left foot that's twitching and a clutch hand that's looking, but look at that. My word. That is really, really quick and so smooth. I mean, it has no gears, it's just a twist and go. So whether there's a variable band that is powered by the electric motor, I'm not sure, but it doesn't flick up like the Honda XADV does. It, you know, that has a gear that it changes. I don't know, this is just not what I expected. This is more fun than I expected, definitely. I still want to change gear. So it's just a case of pulling on the brake to slow it down. There is a bit of engine braking. It leans into a bend so easy. The riding positions, I've got my feet on the front foot plates at the moment, as opposed to having them down on the actual foot plate, so my feet are raised, if you imagine it like a chopper style. And it is very comfortable, like, you know. I like scooters anyway. We've done a review of a Bergman and the Honda XADV, and I really like them. And this just seems a bit of a completely different kettle of fish. It's very quiet. I'm trying to pull the clutch in, I'm sorry if it's a bit jerky. It's very quiet, and underneath 15 miles an hour apparently it makes a noise when you're bimbling around. Now that might be because in a town situation people with hearing impairment might not be able to hear it. So I managed to lose Toby behind me then. So that might have something to do with the noise it makes. Suspension's a bit solid compared to other bikes. I've been on other scooters that have been, I suppose the best way to describe them is a bit wallowy, but it's not wallowy, it's just, let's just say it's positive. I don't know if you can hear that noise. Oh, so it makes like this weep, weep, weep noise while you're riding along. Now, I'm not sure, below 15 miles an hour, I'm not sure if that's on purpose, but certainly it's a distinctive sound. I'm just slowing down again. Toby will hate me because he's filming behind. I know, it's just the way I was riding it. So it makes like a whiny noise at up to 15 miles an hour. But once you get above that, you don't hear anything. The dashboard is, I don't know whether it's TFT, LCD, OCD, whatever it might be, but it's a very clear screen. Probably a little bit too reflective actually. It's like I can see a good reflection of myself in the screen. But it's very, very clear, white numbers on it. Now if you're commuting, you know, into town every day, and this is going to be parked up somewhere, a 4-hour recharge after a 100-mile trip is pretty good, I think. We're going to look at the charger when we stop. But it goes really quickly. I mean, these are nice bends for it to go on. And the bizarre thing is, you've got no engine to hear yourself, you know, the engine noise to know whether to change gear or not. All you've got is to wind the throttle off. But it does wind off quite quickly. Very little counter steer required to make it go around a corner. It just seems to want to do that. Okay, so it has a front and rear brakes. So the left is the front and the right is the rear, which is taking a bit of getting used to. Excuse me. Underneath the seat is a huge void for the charging kit, which obviously you're going to have to carry with you everywhere. It looks like a bit like an indoor line of plugs. Very easy to ride. Good all-round view. The mirrors, like I said before, are awesome. And you know, this would be easy for keeping clean because there's no nooks and crannies. Everything is filled in. There's no spaces in front. You know, you can see the front wheel on a motorcycle down through the gap underneath the dashboard. There's none of that. Bizarrely, for an electric bike, the headlamps are halogen lamps. You'd have thought BMW, for goodness sake, you're making an electric bike, go that extra little bit and put LED headlamps on it. It's got an LED running light, obviously LED rear light, but you'd think they'd have put LED headlights on it. I mean, good lord, the whole range has got LEDs now. So that's a bit of a bummer. So although I'm getting a bit of wind force off on my shoulders, I'm thinking it might be from these two gaps here in the windscreen. Okay, it's not uncomfortable, you know. Some bikes you just feel it all the time on you. It's not making my head ache or my neck ache or anything with the peak on my helmet. And I'm guessing, you know, this is, you know, with a range of 100 miles on it, it's not going to be going. Oh, do you know what was really hard to do then? I'll finish off my sentence. With a range of 100 miles, you're not going to be touring on it. Well, you could do, but you'd have to stop a lot. When I came to a stop then, I was so comfortable in riding the bike, I almost forgot to put my feet down. That's the sort of experience it gives you. Now, when have you had that when you're riding a bike? I would say, well, I've never had it before, and I've ridden a few scooters. At slow speed, it is so well balanced because everything is down low. All it's basically just a big battery, and that's where the weight comes from, the 260 kilos or something close to that. For slow speed riding, it is awesome, which means it is an absolutely ideal commuter. Now, when we were riding on the roads before, I was looking at the range on the battery because it gives you a little range indication down on the screen here, which is hard to explain while we're riding, so we'll do that when we've stopped. I was down to 56 miles of range, and now we're just pootling along here as we are. The range has gone up to 70 miles. But it's a really strange sensation to be not changing gear, not using a clutch. I mean, even with slipper clutches, your hand's hovering over the clutch all the time. I don't know if you can hear that whining noise. Maybe it makes that all the time. I'm doing 19 miles an hour and it still makes it, so perhaps 15 mile an hour isn't the cut-off. Seat's comfy, you can feel support at the base of your back. And there's a big enough seat there for a pillion. I don't know how carrying a pillion would affect the the range, I would imagine it would definitely have an effect on the range. Here we are, Durgan car park, Cornwall by car parks. I put it up on the side stand. Side stands have never been used, so that's quite heavy actually, because it's as heavy as a GS. So, but look, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Hey, guess what I found? I've got a C Evolution Plus from Ocean BMW in Falmouth. It's just come in. It's fully electric. They've just given it to us and said go out and have a play on it. So we know nothing about it. So everything we're talking about is just like winging it, you know, just like we normally do. However, I like scooters. So we've done a Bergman, we've done the Honda XADV, ridden this. I've been after them to get one of theirs, BMW to do as one of their scooters so we could have a ride of it. And they've given us this. This is awesome. It really is. I can't believe it. It's got a range of about 100 miles on it. And it has all sorts of different road modes, which we'll go into. But purely for commuting, that's all it is. You couldn't tour on this because, you know, with a 100-mile range and a 4-hour recharge, it would negate probably touring. But certainly for commuting, which is what it's aimed at, you know, the way it is. However, comfy, really comfy. I rode with my feet on the in like the chopper position, and also my feet down on the down position. And do you know how comfy it is? I came through a junction, I was talking about it when I was doing the review. I almost forgot to put my feet down because it is so well balanced. As you look at the bike here, all this bit that's in green is battery, which is like really low down, so the centre of gravity is low, so it makes riding it a dream. It weighs about 260 kilos. We haven't got the full details of it because Martin's not given us yet, but it weighs about 260 kilos, which is the same as the German battle bus over there, the GSA, which is unbelievable. But that apart, it handles. And I know Toby was following me on the way here. We didn't break the speed limit, but my God, it's quick. It picks up speed so quickly. And it's just bizarre, because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be a sluggish, you know, some battery, electric power and all the rest of it. Nothing like that at all. Big stupid grin on my face, look, that's how much fun I've had.
You going to buy one?
No. I'm not, and I'll explain why. A, because it's only got a range of 100 miles, which is a shame. If I was a commuter, then I would possibly consider it. And B, I'm just going to explain how it gets recharged, because this is BMW at its absolute best, I think.
I'm moving in.
Coming in, you've got an under the seat, the rear pillion seat hole there, which will fit a helmet. But it isn't going to fit a helmet with the charging kit in. Here's the charging kit. So that's a big bulky thing you're going to have to carry everywhere with you, unless you're only going to be doing under 100 miles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there any other compartment under the other seat?
No, it doesn't lift up. Or I haven't been able to find a way of lifting it. It doesn't appear to lift up. But underneath there I think is all batteries. So, what you have to do to charge it is take this end here, which isn't the same as a charging point on a caravan site or something like that, or one of those ones you see on a motorway, and it goes into this little plug socket down here, like that. So this plugs in there in that fashion.
I'm glad you demonstrated that, Mark.
Do you like that?
Yeah, yeah. That was very good. It's like Blue Peter all over again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the other end of that goes into a normal UK plug socket. Obviously it'll be different.
13M?
Yeah, just a normal plug socket.
Wow.
And there's an inverter in the middle of this which will tell you when it's charged and all the rest of it, because we don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got loads of things on it, isn't it? So it's obviously going to tell you when it's at minimum all the way up to maximum. I don't know why it's got a car thing on there or a house. Don't know.
That might be an arrow. Anyway, so it's got that. Very nice, but you know, you're limited about how far you can go with it, which is, you know, it's an electric bike.
But then I guess this is just the start of the revolution of electric bikes, isn't it?
Of course it is.
When they start getting to the fact that they make more efficient batteries, because this one regenerates the battery as well, doesn't it?
It's got different riding modes, and if I go to, look at the size of that seat. Look at the size of my seat. Does my bum look big on that?
Are you going to do your normal, let's count it with my fingers?
Well, if we take that as the thing, that's 9.5, so we're talking about 11 inches wide across there. And if you were to sit there with 18, 19 inches, that's a fair sized pillion seat. I don't know how that affects the overall mileage, but you know, I would think it would have some effect, let's say that. Keys. I have a key.
Does that go in the keyhole?
There you go.
That's quite, isn't it really weird?
I've got to switch that off now because you missed something.
Sorry. Isn't that really weird that they've got a keyhole and yet most of their bikes are keyless ride now?
Yep.
And it's electric?
Yep.
Isn't that weird?
Weird. But
okay.
Bearing in mind, I've just got off on an S1000RR and got on this with like 10 minutes in between riding the two of them, and I'm grinning more after this.
Wow.
Probably makes me an idiot. But anyway.
No, everybody, that's what I like about bikes, there's something for everybody.
You're very philosophical.
Yeah.
That's the second time I've said that. Right, look at the screen. The screen here, before I switch it on, you'll see how reflective it is. It is quite reflective.
Try and do it at an angle, just because it is reflective.
Okay, but look at this, when it all comes up. Ta-da! You get a little scooter.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. That's amazing, isn't it?
It is a really nice screen. Do you think that's much the same as the i3? I've never driven one of their i3 cars, but do you think that's...
I'm glad you said it was a car, because I was thinking i3, is that a phone? Because I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about it. You've got a trip, battery info. I don't know what the 4.6 miles is, the trip we've just done, I think.
Yeah.
It's only done 112 miles in total. This is like the rev countery thing, is actually telling you how much battery you're using. And down on the right here, it tells you what the mileage is. So we've got 71 miles left in the tank if you want, in the battery. And then we have to charge it, and it's about 73% is the amount of electricity it's using at the moment. So,
so that's not 73% charged?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know.
Because I was thinking, well, why would they have the green line telling you how much charge you've got, plus the 73% and then 71 miles?
Maybe I just made all that up.
3 things telling you the same stuff, so that must be different, mustn't it?
Okay, I'll take your word for that. Anyway, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on it.
Oh, God.
Got on like a ship in full sail.
Well, there is a sail mode.
That's what I need to explain, but it's easier if I do it while I'm sat on. Okay, so
come in.
To start it, centre stand's got to be up, the side stand's got to be up.
To start it?
To start it. And then you have to pull in on the right brake.
Yeah.
And all you do is press the start button. And if you look at the screen, it says brake and press start.
Oh yeah, and see it says ready.
Ready.
Hopefully you can.
And there's an arrow that points in that direction. That's it, the bike is started.
Wow.
Bizarrely enough, there's no brake. There's no like a handbrake on a lot of scooters.
Right, so we'll so like you just let go, it just takes away.
Oh, it wants to roll off, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
It'll take a bit of getting used to. Speedo, as you turn the throttle, the bike starts to move. Look.
Yeah.
Can you follow me?
I'll hang on. I'll try. We've got cables and stuff hanging here. Right. I shall try.
I won't go too fast because I know you can't run that fast with all that.
Oh, I'm out of breath.
So,
and I'm nearly at the screen.
That was it. All right. So that was it running. But it's also got this. Look.
Oh, let's just zoom in. It's a button with an R on it.
That's because it's
right. So, what happens when you do the R?
It's a reverse button. We got. Yeah. So you press the button in, hold it, finger off the brake, turn the throttle, and look at that. It goes backwards.
How cool is that?
I can't get my head around it. It's like the bagger.
So, does it limit your speed going backwards?
I haven't tried it. I've just done it. That's the first time I've done it. I'm sure it would. Should we try it?
Hang on. Let me move this wire.
Are you prepared to jog? What's behind me? Nothing.
Grass.
All right. That's about fast enough, I think, isn't it, to go backwards?
So I suspect it does, because on the bagger you can pull as hard as you can, can't you? But it
maintains.
will only go a certain speed. And
so once your finger is off the R again,
it's back to
going forwards. Now that is amazing, isn't it?
Do you know the only thing that you can't do, and we've always said about these cans making noise.
Yeah.
And yet the one time where you just want to rev it and see what it sounds like, you can't because you shoot into the hedge.
It has a whiny noise, a bit like me really when I'm upset, but it whines when you, and Martin, because he doesn't know, Martin back at Ocean, he hasn't ridden this very much anyway, he said that at about 15 miles an hour you got this whine, and I thought that might have been something to do with riding in town,
Right.
you know, but you know, for obviously hearing impaired people, they can't hear this bike at all, so I've tried it up to about 20 miles an hour and then you lose it in wind noise. So the whine is there all the time. Whether it's there when you're riding any faster than that, I don't know. But if we go back to modes, come this way.
Okay, come on this way.
So mode switch here.
Yeah.
Press that and we look here, you've got road,
Yeah.
sail, dynamic,
Yeah.
eco pro, and back to road again.
Yeah.
So road gives you regeneration, which is it recharges the battery. You just take the hand off the throttle and the bike is still rolling. Then if you go to sail, well, I was thinking it's something to do because we live in Falmouth, you know, and it's something to do with the sailing community. Sail is when you're on flat roads and you don't need much inertia to keep you going. So if you can when you take your hand off the throttle and the bike is still going along, then it regenerates quite a lot of energy. Okay.
Got a dog rolling around in the background.
It looks happy though, doesn't it? It probably likes this bike. From sail we've got dynamic. Dynamic gives you very, very little, if any, regeneration on the battery.
Yeah.
Okay, and but it is like dynamic on any other bike. You know, I've just ridden it today on road, and road is awesome, so dynamic must be amazing. And then Eco Pro. Eco Pro is, it limits, if you see...
I'm zooming in again.
Here, you've got the E-Power here. It tells you, it limits the amount of power you can use. So you can still accelerate, you can still go quite quick, but it limits the amount of power available, torque I suppose you would call it.
Yeah.
And that's that, and then back to road again. I like
I
it.
must say, without the noise of the engine, you'd have to... Have you seen that YouTube clip? Or that clip that was going around on Facebook with that guy with the trombone on the back going, wah, wah. That's what you're going to have to get for this, isn't it?
This feels like something out of Tron or something like that, which is really weird.
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
It's odd. Now, the screen, bit of a strange screen. It's not adjustable in any fashion. It's not adjustable at all. It's got these two big holes in it here, and you do get a bit of wind on your chest.
Right.
But at 60 miles an hour, I think got up to 60 or whatever, and I've got a peaked hat. There was no buffeting of the peak or anything like that, which on a lot of bikes you get anyway. So it does its job, and it's not that uncomfortable, and bearing in mind it's only probably ever going to be used for commuting. That's fine. Indicators, look at that on the mirror stalks. Let's talk about mirrors though. I'm going to switch this off actually because it's buzzing away here. Look at these mirrors. They are as big as some car mirrors.
They're as big as some cars.
They are. They are. And, do you know, we always talk about how bad mirrors are on bikes. You know, you got the shoulder, you get the elbow, you can't see anything in it. These are just like having door mirrors on a car. They're awesome, they're massive. And look at this, look. You can adjust them just by doing that.
Wow.
How difficult is it sometimes to adjust a bike mirror? You know, you got to yank on it and you go, oh, we're going to break it or whatever. You know, why they can't do that on other bikes, I don't know. Maybe they do, not bikes we've ridden so far. There's nothing open. There's no gaps, you know, below the dash where you can see the front wheel. It's all boxed in. So I'm going to get off now. Side stand and a centre stand, which is awesome. There you go. Obviously you couldn't step off like that if you had your big pizza box for delivering on the back.
I think it's an awesome looking machine.
It is.
It's about time, isn't it? Electric cars, electric bikes. It's going to take a lot of getting used to.
It is. However, BMW, what are you playing at? And I'm going to complain here because you've got this lovely LED running light.
Oh, that's a lovely LED.
It is. Light. I'm going to flash the headlight because you'll see there, it's just a halogen bulb.
Oh yeah.
Why on an electric bike have you got halogen bulbs? Why not LED lights like the rest of your range has got? I just find that really odd. You know, and if you sort of think manufacturers miss a boat, miss something every now and again, you know, they've missed that. Because I went straight to the lights and went, oh, it must be LED lights, and was a bit horrified to find that they're not. Wind protection is good, so weather protection will be very good on this. Little frog in my throat there. And
For his book.
which is called Frog Tales, by the way. Available in all good bookshops.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description.
Okay, and someone's talking to me now. So yeah, all nicely covered in. It's got brakes that are either Brembo or BMW, I don't know.
But they work.
Amazingly. Can't get my head round at the moment having a left-hand brake and a right-hand brake, front and rear brakes, you know, because the front is like, it's my clutch hand, you know, and then when I got on it, you were laughing, I'm sure, because I was trying to change gear because I'm an idiot. But if we were around the back,
Talk about yourself.
I am doing. It's quite a smart back end, isn't it, if you sort of see what I'm getting at.
And they've put all of the drive chain all on one side.
Yeah. Now I don't know if it's single shock swing arm. I don't know if it's it's not got gears in as much as you can feel tick 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 going up through the gears.
Yeah.
Whether it's a belt in there or whatever the proper terminology for it is, but it's faultless. It's just smooth. It just goes. Does what it says on the tin. It's an electric bike and it just goes. I love it. I really do like it.
You looked very comfortable on it.
Yeah, I was. Oh, we're being mobbed by dogs now. Anyway, so I love this bike. Wouldn't buy one because it's like, you know, 100 miles is not going to get me anywhere. So if you like,
I'll let you know if there's one in the garage in the next week.
if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe and all that sort of stuff, and I'm sure we'll be able to put some details up to tell you what the bike's like.